Howdy. So, we got to talk about leeches because Insane People Tweets posted a viral image of a leech feeding on her owner, and there appears to be two main responses to this. One, ew, and two, I'm fucking retarded and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Of course, that's an essentialization, but that's pretty much what people are fucking saying because nobody knows what they're talking about. Everyone's stupid but me. Ha! Anyway, super quickly, if you're wondering about my upcoming album, Equestrian Diabolic, all the songs are back from the post-production studio, and we are on track to a full release on May 1st, 2021, to include CDs, Spotify, iTunes, and all that bullshit. Anyway, on to the leeches. I was particularly bored a few days ago, and I was up in everyone's mentions defending the honor of leeches. Well, that's a bit disingenuous because I care about leeches quite a bit, so even if I had something to do, I probably would have made the time. Anywho, I wanted to go over some of the things that people say in reaction to pet leeches. So we're going to talk about irrational disgust, white people, feeding leeches, diseases, and what it's like to have a pet leech. So let's go over to this Twitter thread. This is the Insane People Tweets one. Oh my god, it's got a bow on it. I love it. I love this fucking thing. It's glorious. Anyway, so let's see here. Why the fuck would anyone want to keep a pet leech? Well, I mean, they're kind of fun. Here's the thing. They're actually kind of boring, okay? You put them in a jar, and you feed them once every 3 to 6 months, and you have to handle them like once a week to clean the jar. But you know, for the most part, they kind of hate being handled and shit. They really despise the light, not because it hurts them or anything, but their eyes are just a collection of light-sensitive cells on their head, and they want to process as little information as possible because, you know, they have 32 brains, 2 ovaries, 18 testicles. So being a leech is pretty complicated probably internally, and they don't really fucking want to be messed with unless they're hungry. So I often compare it to having a fish because it's a lot like having a fish. You know, you just put them in a jar. I mean, you can play with them. You can get them out and play with them the same way that you play with like a mouse. You know, you can put them on your arm and watch them run up and down your arm, or just like crawl around on the floor or whatever, as long as they don't come into contact with any like salt kind of stuff, because leeches are a lot like snails in that they exchange oxygen through their skin. They don't actually breathe. But anyway, for the most part, they're marginally more fun than fish because most of the time they just crawl underneath whatever pebbles you put in the jar, and then they just sit there. And you got to put like pebbles and shit in the jar because they shed, you know, like worms. You know, they're like worms. Anyway, let's see here. There's also this one is pretty common. Leeches make me violently uncomfortable. How does someone do this willingly? The thing is that, to be honest, I have no like contention with these people. I experience the same visceral disgust, you know, that with anything that has more than 4 legs, with the exception of spiders. Spiders will be the brown shirts in my anti-bug fascist regime that I plan to install after I become the supreme overlord of the entire planet, where we will go to war with the sun and people that order mattresses over the internet. On a quick note, I did see a lot of people in the quote tweets whenever they were quote tweeting the OP that leeches are bugs, and bugs or leeches are not bugs. Bugs are typically arthropods, while leeches are annelids. So they are not exoskeleton. Obviously, they don't have like a billion legs and that kind of shit. So bugs bad, spiders good, leeches not bugs. Let's see here. Easiest way to get parasites and die. That's also a super common one. Is be like, they carry diseases and you fucking die. And those people are just dumb and gay. It was really tough. Like some of them were just making these accusations about because bloodsuckers in general do carry diseases. Shit like, you know, mosquitoes and whatever. Fuck mosquitoes, by the way, but. Leeches don't, and so I half-ass understand why people are apprehensive and believe that leeches carry diseases, but at the same time, it's just like, oh my god, if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, just shut the fuck up. Ah! And so no, they really don't. Pretty much all leeches do carry some kind of parasite in their digestive system, but these parasites are incapable of surviving inside humans because these parasites are used to the body temperature of a leech. So when they enter the human body, they get broken down pretty much immediately by the comparative hell world that it is inside the human body, where it's just so hot that they just immediately get broken down. So I wonder, can you guess how many people have been infected by a leech-borne illness? None. Zero. Not a single person has ever been infected by a leech-borne illness. When a medical professional sterilizes a leech, they're cleaning the blood that is currently being digested by the leech. So this is why when you handle a leech for the first time that is fresh from leeches.com, they feed nearly immediately because the sustenance in their digestive system has been destroyed. I'm not sponsored by leeches.com, but hey. StallionSlaughter@gmail.com. I can talk about leeches all fucking day, every day. For the right price, just hit me up. Oh my God, please. Anyway, let's see here if there's more. As you can see, I was being kind of contentious. These leeches carry zero diseases, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Is that a ducking leech? And so on and so forth. Let's see here. Oh, okay, so pet leeches is fine, but don't feed them your own blood. Buy animal blood from a store. Don't put bows on them. Those things are fragile. They're really not fragile at all. Like, if you've ever held a worm, like I don't know if you guys are fishermen or whatever the fuck, and you go and you're pulling worms out of the ground, you can grab them and pull them out of the ground. Like, I do understand that, like, they feel fragile whenever I handle the leech. They are very fragile feeling, and I'm afraid that I'm going to hurt them, but for the most part you just snatch that shit up and you'll be fine. So yeah, they can squeeze into tiny little places. You can put bows on them and whatever. They don't fucking care, especially when they're feeding. Like, that you can, if they are feeding, you can cut them in half and they won't even realize it. Like, they don't recognize it or whatever. They're too busy feeding because leeches are kind of dumb. They're not like intelligent or anything like that. Like I said, 32 brains. They're not capable of any kind of higher thought. Let's see here. More contention just for the purpose of being contention. This is another really favorite response. This is the only time that happened in this thread, but there are lots of quote tweets where the appropriate response seems to just be racism. And it's super interesting that being racist is this common response. I don't think it's racism against white people in general. This is like a perpetuation of the idea that black people, in order to maintain an acceptable level of blackness, must conform to a particular set of interests and hobbies. Now, to any dipshits that want to say, if there are any dipshits that want to say that, well, that account might be run by a black person, you're fucking dumb. Black people can absolutely be racist against other black people. I have had meltdowns about black people hurling coon at people like Candace Owens, because that's fucking racism. I mean, full stop. Candace Owens is a fucking moron, and I can criticize her based on her arguments, and I don't have to point out the fact that she's black. Her being black is completely irrelevant. To me, it's analogous to, if I were to call Blair White a tranny because she goes out of her way to be transphobic as fuck. And, the fact that Blair White is trans has zero relevance to her dishonesty and bigotry and dog shit arguments. I mean, she's just fucking dumb. And so to be like, tranny, like that's still transphobic. Like, that's still being shitty. Even when she says, this person is a tranny because they aren't passing enough or whatever, that is still transphobic, even if she's trans. Like I said, it's fucking dumb. If you disagree with me on that point, honestly, then you're just wrong and fucking dumb, because you're gatekeeping what is acceptable behavior for marginalized groups rather than just destroying their dumb fuck talking points. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see here. Advocate for conventional pets. Tarantulas are actually like fragile little things that you can't really, handle. Like, you can put them on your hand and then they'll walk and you can just walk along with them. But like, if you do something wrong and you like hurt one of their legs will just fucking shrivel up and fall off. Leeches are not leeches. Tarantulas are honestly not that much fun. Also, huge pain in the ass having to go get like crickets and stuff like that, trying to feed them and whatever. Yeah, it sucks. Did you see this leeches.com link? Come on, leeches.com, hit me up, stallionslaughter@gmail.com. So let's see here. I mean, good for her, I guess, but for real, there are better ways to feed a leech, right? If you have weird pets, I don't know, but like, don't they have specific food or substitutes? They do not. As I said in this thing, you can cup feed a leech or whatever. They're, in my opinion, self-feeding just makes sense. You can get in contact with a butcher shop, buy cow's blood, and feed them by filling a cup with blood and dropping the leech inside. And the leech will feed for about an hour and then crawl out of the cup when they're done. To me, that sounds like a fucking mess and like a huge ass hassle, and so I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm not dedicating any freezer space to storing blood or any of that bullshit. I'm just gonna slap that bitch on my arm and be done with it. Anyway, as far as I know, and I'm not really 100% certain about this, a leech will either feed from you or feed from a cup. As far as I understand, a self-fed leech will feed from a cup, but I have heard leech owners say that if you cup feed a leech that they won't bite anymore, and like these feeding methods are not really interchangeable. But even if they would bite, I'm pretty sure that you would be experiencing a blood to blood exposure with a cow if you get cow's blood, which is no bueno. So this is why wild caught leeches should never be self-fed, because of the blood to blood exposure, unless they are sterilized with a UV light by a medical professional. And then if any leeches that you get from leeches.com are sterilized that way, like I said, because you don't want to be, get some kind of weird ass fucking alien ass disease that's going to fucking, turn you into a lizard or some crazy shit. Anyway, that being said, if you're ever out in the wasteland that is our modern Earth and you are bitten by a leech, don't pull them off or like burn them or like cut them or anything like that. This will vastly increase the chance of an infection because it is a wound. Anytime you have a break in your skin, then you have a chance for infection. Or like if a wild caught or wild leeches or whatever they fed on last time, and if they fucking bite you and you try to pull them off, then they regurgitate into the wound, and there you get your blood to blood contact and shit like that. Also, it increases the likelihood of an infection at the site of the bite. So really the safest way to remove a leech is to let them fall off on their own. I'm not a doctor or anything, but as far as I understand, you might lose up to like 50 milliliters of blood from like the whole thing. The leech will eat like 5 to 15 milliliters of blood, and then you'll just bleed pretty freely for about 24 hours after that. Like I'm sure I can find one, but even if you're anemic, this is the one. Like there was a couple of people in here talking about how I am anemic and so this would physically hurt me or something like that. And even if you're anemic, you're not going to lose enough blood cells to do any damage. Now, they might be just being overly cautious, which is good, but I'm pretty sure you'd be fine. But like I said, I'm not a fucking doctor, so don't take anything I say seriously or whatever. You really should vet everything I say, because I'm, half-ass talking out of my ass over here. I've had about a year experience having a pet leech, and so this is just stuff that I've heard and read on the internet, and I might be just completely fucking wrong. Anyway, let's see here. I don't know what we haven't covered because I'm pretty sure. Over here, shilling for leeches.com, stallionslaughter@gmail.com. Hit me up. And leeches actually have medicinal effects. This is actually true. If you lose a hand, whenever they need to reattach the hand, they have to stimulate blood flow from your stump into the lost limb. And sometimes they'll use leeches to do that. They'll have leeches like saliva and whatever in the chemical in that in order to stimulate blood flow in order to reattach limbs. And I don't know what it does for psoriasis, but I have there's an account on Twitter called Leechy Love, who is a person that has psoriasis, and they claim that psoriasis is a treatment, or leeches are a treatment for psoriasis. I don't know how that works. I haven't looked into it or anything like that. So I don't think that's particularly irresponsible for me to say that. I don't know how many people out there have psoriasis, and I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna go buy 5,000 leeches and put them all up my nose, or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure that that's fine that I'm saying that. But like I said, I'm talking out of my ass over here. I don't think that I'm wrong. I'm fine with being challenged on any of this, though. Except for the racism thing. I am absolutely right about that. And anybody that disagrees is fucking dumb. Let's see here. Leeches eat 1 to 3 times a year. That's true. Having a pet leech is the least insane thing. One of the less insane. Yeah, it's true. I went through and I liked all the ones that were like cool and what. Ever people asking for the are kind of whatever. Her tweets are protected now because people were going around and fucking being a dick. Why the fuck would anyone own a pet leech? This person, I'm bored, let's free HK or whatever. They are really confused. But then I responded earlier and they ignored me, which is kind of fucking dumb. I think they just want to be outraged by having a pet leech, but whatever. That kind of shit, like I was saying earlier about, I have no contention with people having a visceral disgust to leeches. To go around and type in all caps at people that are cool with having pet leeches is fucking dumb. That's taking it a step too far for sure. I'm coining a word right now, herudophobia. The irrational hatred and antagonism toward leeches or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, I really hope this person gets help or this is bait. I don't understand what the fuck you would need help for. I don't know. I think it's fucking cool. I don't know. Or anime profile pictures. I saw one of those. But anyway, that's pretty much the extent of it, I believe. So let's see here. To conclude, I guess, this will be short. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this thread. I just wanted to talk about this thread in particular because I was, over here getting fucking mad for basically no reason. But I like leeches, okay? Wait a minute. You know what would be fun? There was one person that got ultra fucking mad, and so we're going to have to check that out. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Going on and on. This one is fucking brilliant. So I said, they quote tweeted it and said, timeline warning, bugs/gore, I guess, what the utter and complete fuck. And all I said was, leeches are not bugs. They're a class of worm called Hirudinae, and or Hirudininae, or whatever the fuck, however you say that shit. And it says, then this person responds, I'm going to be honest, man. I don't give a fuck. It was for my followers who aren't comfortable with bugs/have a phobia of them, just in case. Like, why did you feel the need to say this? Why do you care so much? And like, I say, because everyone is stating mistruths about leeches. Leeches get a lot of hate because of misinformation, and I have a pet leech that I care a great deal for. If you don't want to be corrected, don't be fucking wrong. And I was salty that he was fucking antagonistic toward me and shit like that. But like, I think it's funny that if I go into I just don't understand the mentality of like, if I were to correct somebody on something that they said, then their response is, why do you care so much? And it's the funniest thing to me, because the only reason why you're mad that I care so much is because you were wrong. Don't be wrong. Like, it's that fucking simple. I have no problem with that. Like, recently I had this whole meltdown about ableism, and I had a position that was ultimately wrong. I got blown the fuck out on this point because I forget to follow my own advice sometimes, where if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, shut the fuck up. And I said that all mental illnesses across the board carry an increased risk for violence. Apparently, as much as I hated to admit it, I looked it up and that was wrong. Apparently, the increased level of violence is almost completely negligible, and that the increased risk for violence is is like relegated, or whatever the fuck the word is, to a very specific set of conditions like schizophrenia and several personality disorders. But for the most part, mental illness doesn't carry any increased risk for violence. But anyway, I'm saying all of this because people were, I said, no, I'm pretty sure that it's okay for me to side-eye people with mental illnesses and not trust them or whatever, because, you know, they could be violent or whatever. And there was a bunch of people that were going on about how wrong I was and whatever, and being kind of mean. But at any rate, I never said, why do you fucking care so much? Like, why does it matter? You know, I was completely open to the possibility of me being wrong. And then this person quote tweets, before I had a chance to respond to, like, before I even tweeted this response, they quote tweeted that. Why did this weird ass feel the need to reply to me? Is it that important? And they go on and on. You know, fucking just mad as fuck. All caps bullshit. Oh my God, he went through the whole... Wait, look, I'm gonna die. Look at this. He went through the whole woofer to screenshot my tweets and post about me. And here's the thing. It takes, when people are really fucking... when I say something... and people are really fucking antagonistic in their response, I start screen capping immediately because I just plan on being blocked. And so I start screen capping everything because I have had people block me. If anybody was around on this YouTube channel during the FNGR situation or whatever, I was planning on being blocked. But I have seen people block me, and then I'll go to an alternate account and go watch them for a little bit, like, what the fuck dumb shit are you gonna fucking say? Because they never just block me and drop it. They always block me and then completely strawman whatever the fuck I was gonna say, and they just go and then like freak the fuck out and make a big ass deal about it, and they pretend that I was holding a position that I've never held before. And so, yeah, I started screen capping shit, and then he didn't block me or anything, but I did think it was really fucking funny, and so I tweeted about it, and then he got even madder, and then he got even madder. Brony thinks I'm hurt in any way. I've been laughing the whole time. Go come on a Rainbow Dash figure, man. And I'm like, why is this dude so fucking mad? So yeah, keep in mind he is this mad because I told him a leech wasn't a bug. I mean, for real. I mean, oh God, that shit's funny. So, yeah, leeches are a fun thing. Like, the majority of reactions to me responding to them, correcting them about certain things, for the most part, most people are like, wow, that's actually really cool. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to read on leeches or whatever the fuck. Like, they were super cool and everything. And there were some people that are just like, I don't get it. I think it's gross. And I'm like, that's fine. You can think it's gross. I have no issue with that. Having a visceral reaction to like otherworldly creatures like leeches and bugs and shit. Totally fine. I get it. And then, there was a couple of people that got kind of fucking mad. This right here is the most extreme example of somebody who just like fucking flipped the fuck out because they got corrected. So anyway, that was fun. I just want to say really quick, if you're thinking about getting a pet leech, just keep in mind that you're going to have to set aside about an hour a day for every 3 to 6 months to feed them. And then I personally, I'll wrap my arm in menstrual pads because the wound will bleed fairly freely for about 24 hours. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more leech posting, follow me on Twitter at SlaughterPony. And if you want to see more videos about the pet leech I will be receiving in the next week or so, let me know in the comments because I could talk about leeches pretty much all day. Anywho, also album incoming or whatever. Fucking subscribe and like and all that bullshit. Bye!